Hey, thanks for attending my session. This presentation is called Lessons Learned from Building a Client with the Associative Engine. First, a little bit about myself. My name is Spiros Kokinis. I am a data visualization designer and developer. My work focuses on building interactive tools that help people explore the nuances of their data. I also create open source software and write about visualization on the web. You can find me rambling about visualization and Qlik APIs and technology on Twitter at SpirosCK. Now, I've spent the last decade as a consultant in the Qlik ecosystem, but in the last few years, my primary focus has been on the Qlik APIs. I use those APIs to create extension objects, mashups, or even completely custom solutions on top of the Qlik platform for customers. I've been a luminary for the past 4 years, and I'm also an instructor at the Master Summit for Qlik APIs. That's an event that we do twice a year where we offer advanced training on the Qlik APIs to help people get the most out of their Qlik platform. Now, currently, I'm working on a new company that I co-founded called NAR Analytics. At NAR, we've developed a tool for collaborative, ad hoc, advanced analytics that enables people to make data-driven decisions on the fly and with greater harmony. So you can check that out at nar.io and sign up for free. Now, the thing about our tool NAR is that it's actually powered by the Qlik Associative Engine that we in the community love so much. And having spent a couple of years building a product on top of the engine, we've learned a lot. And my goal today is to share some examples of what you can do with the engine so that maybe you'll walk away with your own ideas for new solutions that you can build with it. But before we jump into the details, let's review what we mean by the Associative Engine, and let's check out the existing solutions out there today. When I think about the engine, I like to think of it as the calculator of Qlik. You put a bunch of data into this calculator, and as an output, you get a few powerful results. The first thing you're going to get out of the calculator are the associations. This is what makes Qlik feel like Qlik. It's the ability to associate data from various sources and explore the relationships within that data. The second thing you get is search capability. So with your data loaded into the engine, you can rapidly search across your model to discover where various data points lie. And the third thing we get out of the engine is the calculation engine. So the engine can aggregate data and do very sophisticated querying via tools like set analysis, allowing us to get very different but insightful perspectives on our data. Now, we usually encounter the engine within the context of a larger Qlik platform. But thanks to the Qlik Engine API, we can also work directly with the engine. Now, working directly with the engine opens up a world of possibilities, but it also brings up an important question. What kind of products can be built on the Associative Engine? We've already seen two fantastic examples from Qlik. First, we had QlikView, which used the engine to deliver guided analytics with highly bespoke, workflow-oriented dashboards. Then we got QlikSense, a self-service dashboarding platform that enables business users to quickly assemble their own dashboards. So what else is left? How can we add more value to the analytics community with the engine? Well, if we take a look around the Qlik community, there are a few examples already out there. One use case that the Qlik engine works well for is catalog search. So the image here is from an online archive built by Nick Webster and the Webster team. It's an online art catalog that is powered by the Associative Engine. You can check it out at this URL, Letterform Archive. What this means, having this experience powered by the engine, is that readers browsing the archive can do associative search. Here, for example, I'm looking for pieces of art that match the term Euro, were created in the 1960s and are from Italy. And you can see that the results there at the bottom, the matching artwork, thanks to the associative search capabilities. But the Websy team goes even farther. They actually take advantage of Qlik's associations in terms of relationships. So if you filter down to a single piece of artwork, they query the engine to produce a list of related items based on other data that's in the engine. Another cool example in the community is Pinit from Bitmetric. So Pinit is sort of a self-service dashboard of dashboards capability that enables consumers to assemble their most important views from several Qlik applications into a single place for monitoring. And that way, users can build a simple at-a-glance view of their business by combining all these different subject areas. So it's another really cool example of how to go beyond just a single dashboard and use the Qlik APIs to produce a new type of solution. Okay, so we have a couple examples already around what kind of products can be built on the engine. But I want to go a bit deeper on a third example, which is NAR, the product that I've been working on. Now in NAR, rather than focusing on dashboarding or catalogs or a master view of multiple subject areas, NAR's use case is ad hoc data exploration. Our goal is to deliver collaborative, rapid data exploration to advanced users. We want to enable those advanced users and analysts to come together quickly with their data and their expertise in order to solve problems faster than ever. So how does the Associative Engine support this use case? What I want to do today is highlight 7 features of the engine that have helped us do these collaborative analytics. Each of these features is something that all of us are already using in Qlik products today. And so what I want to highlight is for each one how when you step outside the Qlik platform, you can use the feature in a new and creative way to add some new value. So let's just go through the 7. The first one is session sharing. So inside of Qlik, we have this concept of a session. A session enables a user to have a unique experience with data in memory. So when we use Qlik Sense, for example, each user gets their own selection state as they use a dashboard. And this is because they're being put into their own session with the engine. So we have one user with one session, their own selections, their own views, etc. And even with just this type of approach that comes with Qlik out of the box, you can do some pretty interesting things. For example, a user can connect to the same session from multiple devices. That allows them to drive their dashboard from a phone and a laptop at the same time. But we can actually take that concept a step further. Who says a session needs to be limited to one user? What if we put a user in another user's session? If we think of a user session as dynamic in this way, we get various new architectures to play with. In NAR, the architecture we get with session sharing is what we call multiplayer analysis. Multiplayer analysis is the concept of several users working together in real time to explore their data. It looks something like this. In this video, we have 4 users logged into a NAR project at the same time. You can see their cursors moving around as they work together to profile their data. Some users are taking notes on the insights being found. Other users are building charts and making selections. And this is all made possible by letting multiple users share a single Qlik engine session. The next engine feature that I want to highlight is partial reloads. In the Qlik View and Qlik Sense world, we typically think of partial reloads as a trick for speeding up our dashboard update times. Sometimes our users need data that are being updated every few minutes. And in those cases, reloading an entire model isn't efficient. So instead, we perform an incremental reload and just append the latest records to our data model. Now, the thing about partial reloading is that you don't just have to append records. Any model modifications can actually be done via partial reloading, including dropping tables, renaming fields, dropping fields, etc. So with that in mind, we can actually use partial reloading to allow multiple users to make model changes simultaneously. We can design UIs where users can suggest model changes, and then we can translate those into partial reload scripts to get the newest model out as quickly as possible. In NAR, we call this collaborative data modeling. The idea is that users can bring their own data to a project and actually blend it with each other's data very easily. So here's an example where we have a model with marketing campaign data loaded by my colleague Jill. Now I have access to some user login data that would be interesting to cross-reference with Jill's data. And I can add my own data to the mix on the fly here. A quick partial reload will happen that'll append my data into the model where Jill has already loaded her data. And from here, I can even edit my data further, reload it, delete it, etc. The third feature I want to highlight are session objects. In Qlik solutions, we use generic objects to hold useful metadata about our analyses. Those generic objects can store hypercube definitions and selections and anything else we might want to keep around. What's interesting about session objects is that they're transient. They only exist in memory for the session they're created in. They're not persisted to disk or saved within the QVF. Since we don't persist session objects inside the QVFs, we can actually gain some flexibility for what we can do with them. For example, we can store session object metadata in a serialized format outside of the engine, like in a database or in a flat file. This allows us to easily distribute objects and import them into other sessions. We gain a way essentially to pass around metadata about analytics that could be read by other Qlik engines and other sessions, or even other technologies to do something else with those objects. So there's a lot of use cases for that. One possible use case is insight sharing with what we refer to as snapshots. In NAR, while you're exploring data, you can capture the exact selections and charts you're looking at with a snapshot. These snapshots can be shared with URLs and embedded into notes so that other users can recall your snapshots and analyze them for themselves. So in this video, I'm examining some notes my coworker made about our company's ad campaigns. I can pull up his snapshots to see for myself about the conclusions he's drawing and modify them and kind of explore on my own. So these snapshots are powered by session objects that we store outside of the Qlik platform. So it makes it very easy for us to save these, recall them, send them around in different formats in different ways. The fourth feature I want to highlight is set analysis, which to me is one of the most amazing parts of the Qlik platform. As most Qlik developers know, set analysis is a powerful tool. It helps us explore complex relationships in our data. We can use it in calculations or in search to filter our data in ways that would require crazy complex queries in other languages. There's just one problem with it. It's very difficult to use, right? So writing set analysis on any given day can leave you feeling either like a god if you're successful, or maybe banging your head on the wall if it's not working for you. So what if we could give our users the power of set analysis without exposing them to the inner workings and syntax? A UI could be used to generate set analysis on behalf of a user. They just fill out their request in a guided fashion using some sort of tool, and on the other end comes out this powerful analytical query. This is actually what we've done in NAR with our lens feature, which allows users to do advanced filtering very, very quickly. So in this video, I have a list of Olympic athletes, about 28,000 of them, who have won a medal of some sort. And what I'm going to do is quickly add criteria for searching through my athletes in a more sophisticated way than just picking names from the list. For example, I can say, show me the athletes that have ever won a silver medal using my association lens. Then I can add another piece of criteria. Out of those athletes, show me the ones that never won gold using my non-association lens. Finally, I'll add a third criteria to the list. Out of that list, then show me the top 2 athletes by number of medals won, but across each season, meaning I want to know the top 2 in the summer games and the top 2 in the winter games. And the result is the list you see here that I've narrowed down from 28,000 athletes to 4 athletes. So these are the athletes who, for the Summer and Winter Games, won the most medals without ever breaking through and getting a gold. Now, this entire experience is powered by set analysis under the hood. But the user never has to see it, and they can still perform this complex query very quickly, very easily. The fifth engine feature that I want to highlight is Listbox Frequency. This feature is a favorite of mine from the glory days of QlikView. In QlikView, you can take any listbox and put it into frequency mode where the density of the field values is shown. It's a really great tool for data profiling since it updates with selections, so you can sort of click around and look at these frequencies to see how the data distributions are changing as you explore. The good news about Listbox Frequency is that it's actually still available in the Qlik engine. So we can use it to build our own powerful data profiling views like a filter grid. In this grid, we can see all the filters loaded from my Olympic athletes data set from before. All of the filters show the value frequencies using histograms in the background. As I make selections, whether it's by clicking, searching, or using lenses, the histograms across the view update. So in this way, I can quickly click around a data set and get a sense of how all the values are distributed very easily. The sixth feature that we're going to talk about is the Tree Data API. This to me is maybe the most underrated and underutilized feature of the Qlik engine, probably because it's very new, but it's very powerful. In traditional chart development for the Qlik engine, like an extension object, we use the hypercube. A hypercube takes in dimensions and measures and returns a flat table of results. A flat table of data is great when you're showing data in a table, but it doesn't map well to most data visualizations. This is because data visualizations are usually hierarchical in nature with multiple levels of granularity. The Tree Data API models data in a more effective way for charts by forming the data into a nested tree. It essentially puts hypercubes inside of other hypercubes. With this format, you can use the Qlik engine to build much more complex visualizations like trellis charts or mini charts that don't fit well in a flat table structure. In NAR, all of our charts use the Tree Data API, and that allows us to deliver high-density data visualization. So here's an example of a bar chart where we're showing medal count by the age of athletes. So we just have one dimension, one measure. Now I can quickly split this graph into separate rows by the sex of the athlete. So now we've got 2 dimensions, 1 measure, 2 plots, one for male, one for female athletes. And I can repeat this step again with my columns by breaking out the chart further by season. Now I have 4 plots corresponding to the cross sections of season and sex. And I can even make those inner plots denser as well, like maybe adding medal type as a stack dimension and maybe toggling on like a proportional mix to see out of totals and things like that. So you can see just with a few clicks, I can get a very thorough view of my data broken out by 4 dimensions. Last but not least, I want to highlight the value indexing that Qlik does. The way the Associative Engine works its magic is by indexing every value that we load into Qlik. This index is what allows it to resolve the relationships between data points so quickly. Whenever we consume data from Qlik via the APIs, we have access to those indices. Each data point that Qlik gives us includes a reference to its underlying index value. If you're an API developer, you may have recognized this in the QLM number property. Now, since we have this index available to us when we pull data from Qlik, we can actually use those indices ourselves to do some associating of data outside of the Qlik platform. One feature that this index can facilitate is shared chart interactions. So in NAR, when you interact with a data point anywhere in the tool, relevant data points are highlighted anywhere else they're in view. So for example, if I hover a city in a scatter plot, that same city value is highlighted in other places in that scatter plot, as well as in the bar chart using city data to the right. Or I could hover the metal type bar chart, which will also cause highlighting in the scatter plot where metal type data is also being shown. This is all accomplished thanks to Qlik's indexing, which allows us to associate our data even outside of the Qlik engine. So that's 7 features that we've used in the Associative Engine to help us build our data exploration tool. There are a lot more useful features than just those 7. And so what I want you to walk away with today is this. The Qlik Associative Engine truly has some amazing capabilities. Once you step out of the Qlik Sense use case and are working directly with the Qlik engine, the sky is the limit for what you can do with those features. So my advice to the Qlik developer community is to get creative in how you utilize that engine and its capabilities. There's a lot of value to be added from the engine that goes beyond traditional BI. So thank you for watching the session. If you want to learn more about NAR and what we're doing with data exploration, sign up for free at nar.io.